What's going on, Ace family? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. It's a gorgeous day out. So, Bishop T.D. Jakes is officially stepping down as the lead pastor at the Potter's House. He announced this morning in his service that he will be handing the leadership over of the Potter's House to his daughter, Sarah Jakes Roberts, and her husband. Let's go ahead and listen to Pastor Jakes as he gives his last sermon as the lead pastor in the Potter's House.
You all know for years I have been talking about it. It may not work out the way I plan it, but I get on my knees and pray, and I plan my life in decades. How many of you remember me saying that? Not days, but decades. Because major moves take time. It may look like it was suddenly, but you don't know what the background work was. About 6 years ago, I started talking to Pastor Torrey and Pastor Sarah because I did not want all that I had spent my life and your life and our lives building to get old and go with us. This is a generational. And even though she was busy doing Woman Evolved and he was busy pastoring One LA, about 4 years ago, they moved out here just in time for COVID. God has a sense of humor. He throws you in the water and then says swim. So for the last 4 years, they have been swimming. I talked to the board because I was concerned. I have seen too many men build something and stay so long that they kill what they build. What you got to understand is it's not so important that you just know when to grab a hold. It's knowing when to let go. Now, there's some other things that I'm assigned to do, both here and outside. But I cannot afford, especially after November, to risk something happening to me and you be sheep without a shepherd. I cannot afford to let all the work of all the saints living and dead to hold this so tight, so long that I wither away. So I'm suggesting to you, I'm recommending to you that you receive Pastor Torrey and Pastor Sarah Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. This his legacy. Not because they're kin, but because they're the kind. They've immersed themselves into the DNA of this church for years. Sat quiet, preached. What you didn't know, from November forward, they've been running the church anyway. In this game.
Okay, so TD Jakes has officially stepped down as the lead pastor in the Potter's House, passing it over to his daughter, Sarah, and her husband, Teray. And listen, after that, health scare where he was on stage and he had, I know some people said it was possibly a stroke or a heart attack. We don't know. But we do know that it was a medical emergency. I feel like it is absolutely in his best interest. And like he said, in the best interest of the church, he didn't want to leave his sheep without a shepherd, to pass the torch, right? In every person's life, there comes a time where, you get to an age that it's best to step down and to enjoy his retirement, while he's still able to do so. So I feel like that was a very wise decision on his part. And like he said also, right, the Potter's House is generational. He's not passing the church on to a stranger. He's passing the church to his daughter. So let's go ahead and get into this CBS News article. It says after 30 years, Pastor T.D. Jakes has announced that he will be stepping down as senior pastor of the Potter's House in Dallas and transferring the position to his daughter, Sarah Jakes Roberts, and son-in-law, Teray. The announcement came this morning, Sunday, after service, or during the service, sorry. Jakes, along with his wife, Sarita Jakes, by his side, named Pastor Sarah Jakes Roberts and her husband as the new senior pastors of the church. The couple will begin their new roles in July. The move signifies that the megachurch is evolving its ministry into the future, uplifting a new generation. He says, or she says, Sarah says, as your pastor elect, co-senior pastor elect, I'm grateful. I'm honored as your daughter, fighting through tears as she embraced her father. In November, Jake suffered a heart attack. Okay, so it was a heart attack, it wasn't a stroke. He suffered a heart attack during a morning service at the Potter's House, which was captured live on video. It was questioned whether or not he would return. A spokesperson for the Potter's House told CBS News that the plan for Sarah to take over has been in the works for years, and that Jakes will remain on the Potter's House board of directors. So following the announcement to the congregation on Sunday, the Jakes family sent out this following letter. It says, today, quote, today we shared with the world our long-held plans of purposeful evolution for the Potter's House and our global church family. Preparing for this announcement over the past several years has allowed us as a family and a global church family to carefully balance the needs of our community worldwide and the pace at which we performed each step of our plan. When members of our family moved from LA to Dallas, it was to be a more active in the evolution of this growing ministry. In 2022, a handshake between generations took place as we said farewell to Woman Thou Art Loosed and hello to Woman Evolve. Side note, y'all remember that movie Woman Thou Art Loosed? I think it was did Tyler Perry produce it? I remember seeing it when I was younger, but I don't remember all the details. I do remember the climatic scene, when they were at the altar. But anyway, I'll keep going. It just reminded me of that movie. And when we installed 2 new assistant pastors in 2023, we continue to forge ahead in the vision we set long ago. Today marks the continuation of our willingness to evolve as a church and step into broader roles to make certain that we will continue to meet the needs of this sensitive moment in our collective history. As we look across our great nation and survey the unyielding economic, societal, and spiritual needs visiting our communities, it's clear that we cannot afford to squander the potential of our youth or the elders who have paved the way. The hardships of first time home ownership, the dire need to invest in the growing entrepreneurial landscape, and a younger generation needing a home for their faith walk in the midst of increasing skepticism. Those issues we face are not a tale of despair, they are a clarion call for change. And together we will tackle these challenges and the need for this change in our unique ways. As Pastors Touré and Sarah take another step to further accept the mantle of daily ministry duties at the Potter's House of Dallas, ushering in a new movement and calling the work of T.D. Jakes Group to bolster job creation and the 21st century workforce readiness, investing in the infrastructure of communities nationwide, lifting communities up from the margins to the center and working alongside like minded partners to create thriving neighborhoods will be able to accelerate rapidly. Together, we shall unite for the betterment of this generation and the ones to follow. So that was a long letter, but I'm glad that they were able to make a statement and address the church making the transition official and final. So he's been in ministry for over 30 years. And listen, aside from his health issues, I really do believe that the stress, you know, especially regarding Mr. Combs and his trial coming up. I mean, it came by quick, y'all, right? Next month they'll be here before you know it. The trial is on Cinco de Mayo, I believe, unless it's gotten pushed back since then, but I do believe it's still going to go forth on May the 5th. And TD Jakes, his name in pictures of him, being a past participant in Diddy's gatherings, right? I'm not gonna listen. I'm not gonna say that he was specifically at the Diddy parties, but I will say that he has more than a few pictures of him, taken with Sean Combs, with Diddy, and two gentlemen have been circulating on the internet telling their stories, or allegations, I should say, about interactions that they've had in the past that they deem were inappropriate during their late teens. I believe they were 18 years old, on church trips and conference trips with TD Jakes. Now, again, these are just allegations. I wasn't there. I don't know. But from what I hear, TD Jakes is, seeking legal ramifications, and he's going after these two men legally. I don't want the smoke, so don't come after me. I'm just saying they're allegations. They're allegations that these two men are telling their stories. But I'm saying all of that, right? All of that. 2024 was a year. You hear me? I mean, from Cat Williams all the way to the end. 2024 was a nonstop roller coaster. 2025 isn't much better, but it's a little better. Um, Actually, no, it's not. Because with these tariffs, y'all, side note, go stock up if you can. Walmart, all these different stores are saying that they're meeting with Trump because they said that their shelves are essentially going to be empty within the next 2 weeks. So we're going back to Bishop T.D. Jakes. All of those things, right? Like the two young men that are circulating their stories, Diddy's trial coming up, and the pictures that are floating, and all these allegations plus his health issues, that's enough to take anybody in his age, because he's been in this thing for 30 years. Like, let me work a job for 30 years. Absolutely, it's time to put in that retirement. Lord willing, I'll still be here. I don't know if YouTube will still be around, but I'm saying I'll still be working, if I have my health and everything. But I feel like if you put 30, that time and effort of 30 years into any profession, that you've earned that retirement. And it's a blessing that he can pass that on to his daughter and her husband. So You guys, let me know your thoughts. What do you think about TD Jakes stepping down? Do you feel like it's, like I said, I feel like it's just a combination of things. Stress can really, harm the human body. And I feel like a lot of people, rightfully so. I mean, in the past, Diddy, um, he was, very charismatic as far as his, public persona, and his quote unquote parties were, legendary, whatever. Now I will say that all the pictures that I've seen with TD Jakes and Diddy had all, been in the daytime. So from what I understand, it took a turn. The parties, of course, would take a turn to after parties, after parties. So he might not have been there for that. But all those things, right, are stressors. And then these two young men that are going, well, they're not young anymore, but they said that, the time that they had with TD Jakes uh, was not in the best light, um, and that there were issues. But again, they're going to handle all of those things in court. It's enough to, it's enough. I mean, I'm just like, that's enough for anybody. That is a stressor. I can't even imagine. And then trying to, still have, Sunday service every week. So the fact that he, recovered from his heart attack from November, and he continued on until just now, the end of April, I applaud it. Um, but I do believe that it's time for, that retirement, time to pass that baton, time to focus on rest. I don't know, like I said, if the two young men are looking for a payday now in regards to their stories, like why they're choosing to speak out now, but or maybe because they've seen, the TD Jakes is now back in the limelight because of the Diddy trial coming up. I don't know. I'm telling you, I keep going back to the Cat Williams video because it was so prevalent, and he named TD Jakes specifically, but he also said, that all the deviants will be named. He was like Diddy, TD Jakes, and then he looked directly at Shannon Sharp, and he's of course trending right now. And he's like, everything that's done in the dark will come to light. Everybody will be exposed. And when I tell you these dominoes are falling, I'm just like, man, like if Cat Williams had a podcast, I definitely would tune in just to hear what he has to say. He did say something that he's, he has something in the works. I haven't been able to see him on tour yet, but I would love if he had a YouTube channel or a podcast. I'm not going to give any more of my time and attention to Shannon Sharp, which is why I'm not going back to watch the Cat Williams video on Club Shay Shay. But from what I can remember, every single person that he named is facing some kind of legal consequence or is tied up in court litigations right now. Um, Unfortunately, including, Pastor Jakes. So it's not just, this situation with Diddy, but like I said, it's also these two men that are both coming forward with similar stories. I'm telling you, like my grandma used to say, y'all gonna hear me quote my grandma a lot on this channel because I loved her. She was one of my best friends before she passed. But baby, everybody ain't lying on you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even the Bible says that, since we talking about, Bishop, where two or three are gathered, you know, in the Bible, in the Old Testament, they used to get at least two or more witnesses to corroborate a story. I mean, if two people saw the exact same thing, if two or more people are saying the exact same thing, Sean Combs, right? Everybody ain't lying. Okay. Now these two young men, I mean, they could possibly be in cahoots, but if they get, more people coming forward with these stories, like that solidifies, especially in the legal realm, a lot of people's stories. That's why, when you're on the witness stand, they'll call multiple witnesses again to corroborate, a story, a crime that was committed. Now, in regards to the statute of limitations or what these young men are seeking, I don't know if they're looking for a settlement or what, or just vindication, But I do feel that it was a wise decision for T.D. Jakes to step away from the pulpit indefinitely. And he needs to focus on his health, his mental and spiritual well being. You know, I feel like he's a lot closer to, possibly meeting the Lord face to face than, not. He's up there in age. So, he needs to, I guess, get all those affairs in order. This Diddy trial is going to be wild. I'm telling you. Between them switching, so many lawyers around, he's looking for a black woman, of course, the Olivia Pope, to come in and save the day, because y'all remember she was a lawyer, and based on the real life fixer Judy Smith. But they always call in black women at the last minute. That's the same thing with Kamala Harris, right? The prosecutor, she was a federal prosecutor. They called her in at the 11th hour to try to, clean up the whole Democratic mess. And it was like they didn't give her enough time to campaign. But she would have been 100 times better than what's going on right now with the current administration. But this is going to be a mess. This Diddy trial is going to be a mess. Cassie's coming in pregnant at all. She said, I don't have to be a Jane Doe. Y'all saw that CNN video. Okay? You know. Listen, it's going to be here next week, and I'm going to be here for it. I'm going to be seated. Y'all can come here, get your information, but it's going to be a wild time. So I don't know if Pastor or Bishop T.D. Jakes' name is going to come up or not. If it is, I'll be here to, like I said, bring you the updates, but I hope that he does have his family and support rallying around him. I hope that he does have a good legal team. I hope that, like I said, nobody was harmed. These two young men that are speaking up, I hope they have good, legal representation as well, and they can fight it out in court. But I really want to hear a Cat Williams podcast. I'm not gonna lie. I want to know. Cat, if you hear me, say no. But anyway, Bishop T.D. Jakes, in all seriousness, I wish him well. Like I said, I'm looking forward to hearing the result of this legal issue that's going back and forth with him and these two men. And I hope that it can be resolved, in the best way possible. I wish him, like I said, all the best. And I look forward to hearing updates with, his daughter and Sarah and her husband, Teray, at the Potter's house. But yeah, today was his last sermon, and he is officially stepping down, passing the torch, which I feel like is good. And I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on it? Please let me know in the comment section. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and like the video, please. And I will talk with you in the next one. Take care. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy this beautiful sunshine, y'all. Be easy. Bye, Aces.